What's up? This is Jeff from The Used, and you're watching and listening to SLC Audio.
What's up, everybody? Big Bryan here, SLC Audio, and we're here with Jeph Howard from The Used. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm back to Utah. For some of the band members, it's home, and for some of the band members, I guess most don't live here anymore now.
Actually, nobody does.
Oh, really? Dan's gone too?
Yeah, Dan's lived in California for a couple of years now. Yeah.
There you go. Well, it was home at one point.
It was home for a long time, yes, yeah. Many years.
And you guys got your start out of Orem, which is not too far to our south. And so you guys just released a live acoustic album. Talk about what inspired you guys to want to actually do that project.
We've been wanting to do it for a long time. It was just planning, you know, it was a little difficult, but have you seen the video at all?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's great. Let me tell you about it a little bit, even though you've seen it. We had four-string, you know, quartet came out and played. We had 3 backup singers. We had a piano player. We had 2 horn players. One of the horn players actually was an engineer for In Love and Death and for actually I think he did a couple records with us, but he played horns on the song. Like live, actually recorded the horns to the part he played. So it was cool that he came out and actually played it live with us. We also had a harp player, a harpist. We had, we had a percussion player and then us around it. But yeah, it was intense being able to play with all those such like super talented people. So
right. So, I mean, I thought it was cool because I liked, you know, back in the 90s when they did the live in New York stuff, and you guys threw your own flavor on it, which was really awesome.
Awesome.
I liked that you guys kind of redefined some of your songs in there with, you know, with some of the parts. Talk about the production that went into, like, how long did you guys plan this out for? How long did it actually take to, like, make this thing happen?
Well, since it was kind of on our mind for years, planning actually went pretty quick towards the end of it, but we wanted people to feel like they weren't really at a Used concert, but we didn't want to tell them that at first. So when we set this whole thing up, all we were saying was, yeah, and it's an acoustic show. Come out and see the live acoustic show with the band. But every time we played acoustic, it's usually just you know, guitar and vocals, and that's it. Right. So once kids got there, they found out it was an all-seated event, which that's never happened. You know what I mean? Like, we won't play to seats. You know, it doesn't make sense. Right. So when they got there and saw the seats, everybody was confused. They were like, wait. And so, yeah, like, huh? So everybody comes in and starts sitting down. And we had little pamphlets, sort of like when you go to a play. Okay. So we had those on each seat. So every person got a little pamphlet that talked about each person, like each extra member and like the stage setup and just an idea. It was kind of funny too. It wasn't totally serious, but it was to kind of, the whole planning of this was sort of to take people away from what they thought. You know what I mean? Having kids come in, think they're going to see a certain thing, and then since they're expecting something, and that's not at all of a sudden all expectations are lost. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's pretty much erasing the board and starting over. And so when they got there and they sat down, we had this backdrop with like all these plants and trees and flowers all over the ground, and Bert had this one flower in front of him that was kind of dead, which is kind of fitting, you know? Right, it was great. Yeah, that was the whole point, is just to take kids away from what they thought we were and change their whole idea. Right.
So is there going to be any point where you guys tour that production, or was that kind of a one-time thing?
You know, we did play another show in California at a record store with half of that. Okay. Because with all of it, it's really hard to get out there. You know what I mean? So there's been talk of doing a scaled-down version of it. But this is talk, and it's so expensive. Right. I mean, trying to travel with, it would be 7 more people we'd have to travel with, and that wouldn't fit onto our bus at all. You know what I mean? Right, so that changes everything.
It changes all the dynamic. Yeah.
So it's being talked about, but it's not something that would happen this year or next year. You know? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So who knows?
What happens? But all right. So. I mean, and that's a great album. Guys, go listen to it. It's fun, and you know, even if you're listening just to the album, you get to hear, you know, Bert's interaction with the crowd, and you hear the people in the background like, "But we love it." You know, I just thought it was fun. I feel like you're there.
It was a great show.
Yeah. So you guys, The Used has had kind of a big transition year since 2014 to 2016. Talk about the transition in guitar players from Quinn to Justin, and how does that make the dynamic of the band feel and change, and what's it like?
We were a little worried at first, you know, like we didn't know what to expect, and we took Justin out on a tour in Europe, you know, to kind of see how he meshed, because it's more than just musically meshing, it's also like personality meshing, like to see if we work as like human beings together, you know, and we can be in tight spaces, you know, and everything worked out so crazy good. Like it was so smooth, the whole first European tour we did with him. Like a lot of our likes are similar, you know what I mean? And he's very himself, and we like personality, you know? Like being your own person is so important, and he's so himself, and it's great. And musically, he fits so well. Like we've been writing some songs, not secretly. We have, I would say, 20 musical ideas. Okay. But when I'm saying musical ideas, it's kind of vague. You know, it's still in the work, and who knows if these are going to be anything, but our plan is to start writing a full new record at some point. My next question. Yeah, we're in the works, but I mean, this tour is 2 months long. Okay. And after this tour, we have another tour that's a month and a half, I think. And then we have another one that's another month long after that. So it's finding time in between those gaps or on tours like, but.
Yeah, so you're planning things out. What's the songwriting? I mean, because a lot of times, you know, bands start with a guitar idea and build off of it. So what's it like when you're working on musical ideas with him? Is he bringing more to the table, or you bringing more to the table, or how's this working out?
The way we write as a band has been any way you can possibly imagine. We've started with guitar in the past. We've started with drums in the past. We've started with vocals in the past. We've started with anything you can think of, even an idea. We want a song that sounds like this, and we'll kind of vibe it together. Jamming together a lot of the time, just somebody will play something and it all just becomes something. That happens a lot, you know, and that way is my favorite. It's very organic and natural.
The happy little accidents.
Yeah, that's the best way, personally, I think, you know.
It's like when, you know, Bob Ross gets his little, it's just a happy mistake.
Totally, yeah. I fully think that's important in music too, and the way that we've been jamming with him seemed to be very organic most of the time.
I mean, you guys had a history. I mean, you guys have toured together in the past.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like he was just a stranger that jumped into the band.
Yeah, we've known him for a long time. Right. Yeah, many years.
And as you guys, you know, go forward and stuff, it's not like we have this whole completely different human being we've never met before, and you know, hi, this is weird. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So with what you guys are doing tonight, it's a 15-year celebration of the original release of the Used, and I mean, I remember when that thing came out. It was just different, and I loved it. I just thought, this is wild and
Thanks,
fun.
Man.
But what's it like revisiting this, and what would 15 years ago did you think you would be here now still doing this?
No, it's funny. 15 years ago, nobody would. Well, actually, I'd say 16 years ago, we couldn't play any venue. Like, nobody would allow us. We'd either get kicked out, somebody'd get hurt, and they'd blame it on us. You know what I mean? It's like constant things. And we couldn't really ever come to Salt Lake because we didn't have a car, you know? So that's kind of why we just started focusing on music, you know? Right. Like, we're not really going to play anywhere. Let's just focus on writing songs. And it's funny because all of these songs, from the first record at least, and Tomorrow's the second, but as just talking about the first record, we've played all these songs before, but once we recorded these songs, I think, because we were opening, so we didn't get full sets. We couldn't play the whole thing. I would say after we recorded these songs, well, I could say that, after we recorded these songs for this record, not like the demo tapes we had and stuff like that, but after we recorded the songs for this record, there's like 2 or 3 songs that we've only played once. Okay. Since then. So this is like 15 years later, trying to go back. I'm kind of getting to your point here. Revisiting the songs is crazy for us, you know? Things that we weren't even like, I mean, so like Taste of Ink, we played forever. Box Full, we played forever, you know? But like Greener with the Scenery, like we have, you know, and Noise and Kisses. And it's crazy to go back and sort of, since we haven't been thinking about these songs in that sense, it's crazy to go back and relive that past and sort of almost make it anew and kind of come up with better versions live. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because live, sometimes you have to retranslate things so they sound better and sound different, you know? Yeah. And it's really fun actually on all of us to do this. So
yeah, that's really cool.
And I can't even tell you what record I like better to play live because they're so different.
Right.
You know? So,
but I mean, people don't realize, like, I mean, you play your own songs, but you don't always play, like, you know, some songs get shelved because they just don't translate very well live, or they're, you know, the production's really hard. Yeah. Is there songs that you're like, man, I completely forgot how to play that as you revisit them? Or
oh man, 15 years is a lot to forget. You know? So it's back there. You know what I mean? So for Justin, it was all new. You know, so it wasn't hard for him actually. He had it all pretty much down, and me and Dan kind of would go back through the songs and try to get them down just for like practice. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when we had practice time, we'd learn a record and just go through it, and so it wasn't that difficult. Okay. And it's always been in the back of my mind since we recorded it, but definitely it's weird to revisit it. Plus I played 4 strings back then, I play 5 string now, and I had a bunch of weird tunings back then, and I don't do that anymore. I just straight, you know. So I've sort of rewrote what I was playing, which is kind of fun for me at least. So
yeah, that's cool. So as far as future of the band, you're going on tour. You're going to start working on a new album. What do you think 5 years down the road, you know, maybe 15 years down the road? What do you see? You think you're still doing this, or what do you see happening?
15 years, we're going to do Lies for Liars tour. But we're going to do a 30-year anniversary tour and play the next 2 records after. No, I don't know. I have high hopes. Everybody's been really good. I mean, Bert's at his prime. I've never seen Bert better than this. You know what I mean? And as far as vibe goes on tour, everybody is so positive and so happy and so like just, I mean, excited to be playing these songs and excited to be on this tour. And same with our crew. Our crew is our family. And so to have this tight-knit, like, working machine together, you know, is so just exciting for all of us. So personally, I hope this goes on for the next 15 more years.
Yeah, so. Well, yeah. You know, maybe it'd be like Iron Maiden and just
have our own jets.
Get your own jet. Yeah.
Yeah, that won't happen. But.
No. But yeah, well, thanks so much for, you know, talking with us. I'm really excited to see the show tonight. And, you know, like I was saying, if you guys haven't checked out the new live album, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Drop all your expectations and take a listen. This is Big Bryan from SLC Audio with Jeph Howard of The Used. I want to say thanks real quick to Knack Pack Films for helping us get this thing put together, and we'll see you guys next time.